Traces of blood from multiple Wilson family members were found on those items, on those shoes. The evidence was conclusive. It wasn't just Baragni. Anderson had walked through the blood too. He could shift stories, he could deny what he wanted, but the truth was embedded in every drop, every fiber, every inch of that crime scene, and it followed him home. Eventually the law caught up to Anderson too. Baragni had wielded the weapons, yes, he had delivered the fatal blows, but Anderson had been there, he had known, he had walked beside him, and the justice system held him accountable for it. 2 boys, 1 plan, 4 lives ended, and Bellevue, once a quiet suburban haven, would never be the same. When the trials finally began in October 1998, the courtroom was packed. The air felt heavy, not just with grief, but with rage and disbelief, the need for answers that would likely never come. Prosecutors initially attempted to try Baragni and Anderson together. After all, they had walked side by side into the night that took the Wilson family, but the court disagreed. These were 2 different minds, 2 different levels of involvement, and, most importantly, 2 different types of manipulation at play. In the end, it was decided that they would face justice separately. Baragni went first. The trial dragged through the dark details, every swing of the bat, every stab, every lie. But Baragni didn't react. He didn't flinch. He sat there, stone-faced, like he was watching a documentary about someone else. When the jury found him guilty, no one in the room was surprised. He was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences, 1 for each life he stole, without the possibility of parole. And when asked if he had anything to say, anything at all, he simply shrugged and said, "No, I don't think so." He did not feel the need to apologize, showed no emotion or even a hint of humanity, just cold silence. Baragni began his sentence a week later, leaving behind a trail of shattered lives and unanswered questions. Anderson's trial took longer. He fought tooth and nail, hired and fired lawyers like it was a game, a desperate attempt to shift blame, to twist timelines, to wriggle his way out of a sentence he knew was coming. But the evidence was louder than his lawyers, the shoes, the witnesses, the lies that kept changing. In the end, it was all there in black and white, right there in front of everyone. A month and a half later, Anderson, too, was sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms. No possibility of parole. Another name inked into the long list of those who had chosen destruction over decency. For years, that was the end. But then everything changed, because the system, like time, shifts. In the years that followed, laws changed.
Prosecutors say Alex Baragni planned to murder the Wilson family before he turned 18 so he'd get a lighter sentence. He was convicted in adult court and sentenced to life in prison without parole. But nearly 3 decades and a Supreme Court ruling later, he learned today his sentence will be reduced.
What seemed like the end for Baragni and Anderson turned out to be just another turning point in a story already steeped in pain. In 2012, the U.S. Supreme Court made a ruling that would shake the justice system to its core, declaring that sentencing juveniles to life without the possibility of parole violated the Eighth Amendment's protection against cruel and unusual punishment. The court acknowledged what science had long been whispering. The adolescent brain isn't finished. It's impulsive. It lacks foresight. It makes reckless, sometimes catastrophic decisions. And while that might explain the chaos of youth, could it ever excuse what happened to the Wilson family? In 2018, the state of Washington followed suit. It drew a hard line in the sand, acknowledging that juveniles must be treated differently in the eyes of the law, even those who commit unthinkable crimes. Even those who walk into homes with knives and bats, even those who leave behind silence and blood. Under this new ruling, Baragni's original sentence, 4 consecutive life terms without parole, was vacated. prosecutors were ordered to seek a new sentence, one that fit within the revised legal framework. The minimum was now set at 25 years to life. It was no exoneration. It wasn't freedom. But it was a door left cracked open. In October 2024, that door creaked wider for Barani, just like it had for Anderson 2 years earlier. Both were resentenced under the new law. Both now have the possibility, however distant, of parole.
Mr. and Mrs. Wilson's bedroom to murder them.
Alex Barani is now in his mid-40s, appearing in court again in 2024 for the brutal murders that he and his friend David Anderson carried out when they were 17.
You have been afforded the opportunity for resentencing in this case.
The 2012 Supreme Court ruling in Miller v. Alabama determined juveniles cannot be sentenced to life in prison without parole. That ruling meant a judge would have to resentence Barani for the murders of the Wilson family.
This case really is an outlier. This is not the typical juvenile offense that you see.
Barani and Anderson killed their former classmate Kim Wilson at a park, then went to her home to kill her parents Bill and Rose and her sister Julie. As for motive, prosecutors said Barani had a fascination with violence.
During a taped interview, Barani said he wanted to kill someone to experience something, quote, truly phenomenal.
As the convicted quadruple murderer left the courtroom,
no comment.
He simply smiled.
For the families left behind, it's a cruel echo because the Wilsons don't get that second look. There's no parole for the dead, no sentence reduction for those who were buried in matching caskets. Kim, Julia, Rose, Bill, 4 names that were erased in a single night of horror, and now the boys responsible for those deaths may one day walk out of their prison cells. Does the undeveloped brain of a teenager excuse the fully formed evil of a crime like this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you've made it this far, be sure to check out this next video. I think you'll enjoy it. Thank you.